What's up, everybody? Bear with BearIndependent.com. We are doing another Prepper Classroom video, although you may notice that this is not the standard Prepper Classroom. We're in the home office, not the office. But I wanted to go ahead and get this done for y'all. So here we are. If you are new to the Prepper Classroom series of videos, please go back. There's an entire playlist full of these where we start at the very basic. What is preparedness? Preparedness is stockpiling material goods combined with training and getting our heart set, mindset squared away. Those three things so that we can have a hedge of physical insurance against potential chaos. That's preparedness. All the way to now, today we're going to talk about comfort. And why is comfort important? This is going to be based more or less on a shelter-in-place / bug-in scenario. We will touch on a few things here as far as bug-out is concerned, but I've said it before and I'll say it again. If your first line of defense is to bug out when something bad happens, man, you live in the wrong place. Now, I understand, to a degree that, not everybody can move out into the middle of nowhere like I am and just be serenaded by a cacophony of roosters every morning because their wife has a poultry addiction. But I digress. Or at least I'll say I understand your belief that y'all can't do what I do, but I did it. I got out of the suburbs north of Dallas to the middle of nowhere in Arklatex, Texahoma. And I've talked extensively on YouTube and Patreon about how we've done that. But, and this is not that video, but it can be done. So our first line of defense is to shelter in place. We're here. Unless an overwhelming force type situation comes or a natural disaster comes, it requires us to leave, we will be here. And so this stuff plays for that. But we will talk about bug out or get home because I still go many a place in North America doing contracting work and consulting work, and I have plans to get home again. So this does apply to that as well. Let's get in here on the whiteboard. Go ahead and get your prepper notebooks out so you can start taking notes. And yes, I have whiteboards everywhere. That's just how I roll. Coffee. Also, if you're not subscribed to this channel, you're missing out on one of the best things on the internet. NWA Prepper here on YouTube. Shalom, brother. Let's get started. All right, so comfort. You'll notice the first thing on our list is electrical. Why? Why is this the first thing on our list? Because modern society is predicated on the continuous flow of electrons. The end. In fact, when we do area studies, which you've done an area study, right, of your area, check out Forward Observer. Sam Culper at Forward Observer has very good instruction on how to do an area study, and we do area studies for clients. One of the very first things we look at in an area study is what can break and what effects will that have on your AO, your area of operations. Well, electricity can break. Ask everybody in Northern California, how's PG&E doing? Yeah, exactly. So, electricity. Do you have, where you are currently, some form of backup generation or electrical storage? You can have a battery backup tied to the grid that if you experience sporadic outages, good to go. You can have a generator as a backup generation. Wind and solar, talked extensively about that stuff on Patreon. Iron Edison batteries versus lead acid batteries versus, yada, 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 all that stuff. Why is this important? Well, from a comfort aspect, things like HVAC, heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, Heating and ventilation for sure. Is heating the most, heating with electricity the most efficient way to go? Well, that depends. I'm not your guy on that. But it can be done. And with heat pumps today, if you have enough generation, you can definitely heat your home on electricity without breaking the bank. A lot of people gravitate towards wood heat. We do, or propane heat. But, sorry, I just got a text from a guy. That was you, Ben. That was you. We'll talk about Chad later. A lot of people gravitate towards wood heat. That's great. Can you do it with electricity? Can you do it with backup generation? Questions to ask yourself, right? So you need a way to stay warm or cool and move air about, just for comfort. Fans, something's got to power your fan, right? Unless you got your fan is like hooked up to a mule that walks in a circle, and that through a series of gears and pulleys and levers generates wind that keeps you cool, right? You could do that. Lighting is huge. We have literal dozens of oil lamps. We have Coleman lanterns. We have hundreds of candles, dozens of flashlights, hundreds of rechargeable batteries, which gets back to recharging. But being able to see what you're trying to look at is a big deal. Now, all of this falls under electric. Recharging. Now, this could be accomplished with something like a foldable solar panel. We have brothers that have these that when we do Sukkot, they bring their solar panel and lay it out, and the sun hits that and charges their ham radios, which is awesome, right? So, and you can carry these in your bug out bag, a small one for sure, if you have a device like a radio or a small handheld GPS unit, or even your cell phone, because a lot of people go, yeah, but what about the EMP, Bear? What about it? What if it never happens? Like, I'm going to use my cell phone until I can't. I have an app on my phone that I have 3 states. Again, where do I live? Arkla, Texahoma. Figure it out. I have 3 states worth of maps offline on my phone that without, I can still triangulate my position and I can see the map to use for navigate. Does it replace my hard maps? No, but it's nice to have. So you need a way to recharge all of that. So all that's with electricity. So from a comfort standpoint, you know, being able to stay warm or cool and ventilated is huge, right? Being able to see is huge, and being able to recharge your things is huge. Let's go to clothing. You want the ability to stay clean, stay dry, stay warm, or stay cool, depending on what time of year it is. Like, it just went from highs in the 80s to, I think it's 44 degrees outside right now, about that quick. And so staying warm versus staying cool changes, you know, literally overnight for us. But you also want a way to stay dry. And so all of these things contribute to your comfort. It's one of the reasons why in my rucksack, which is now functions as a get home bag, and I don't get caught up on the nomenclature, the get home bag versus the inch bag versus the bug out bag versus the car kit versus the capabilities kit versus, I don't care. It's the same thing. For me, it's the same thing. It's my bag full of capabilities that I take with me when I go places other than into town to buy grain. Okay? So I just call it my rucksack. But in my rucksack, I have a change of clothes and like lots of extra socks and man panties. Why? Well, the change of clothes, let's say that I'm out like today, it's cold and wet. Okay. Well, as far as comfort is concerned, I'm cold and wet. Cool. Well, it's bedtime. Awesome. I'm going to put on my warm, dry clothes. I'm going to sleep well. We'll come to sleep in a minute. And then in the morning, I'm going to take those warm, dry clothes off, put them back in my ruck inside of a dry sack, put my cold, wet clothes on, which hopefully, you know, I've been able to get a fire going and it's a permissive environment and I can dry my clothes out a little bit, put that back on. But at the end of each day, I've got something warm and dry to put on because that adds to comfort, okay? So your clothing contributes quite a bit to comfort. And this is the time of year where you should be going through your bug out bags if you haven't already, and switching over from your summer gear or your 3-season gear to your winter gear, right? Take your boonie hat out and put a toboggan or a watch cap in there. Take your bug dope out and put in, whatever else you might need. Okay, it's time to go through your pack and adjust for the seasons. And clothing as well, as the 5 C's of survival, one of which is cover. Clothing plays into cover. It's in between. Cover is anything that's in between you and your environment. So this would be looking at something like a weather layer, such as a Gore-Tex layer or a poncho or something like that, to keep you dry, right? Insects. Oh my gosh. OMG. I hate things that bite you. And I carry bug dope. See, and this is kind of applicable to bugging out. I carry bug dope, and I said skeeter nets here. I have a mosquito net as well in my bug out bag. And I think the mosquito net I have, it was like $20 on Amazon. I think it's from the Friendly Swede, and it's done great to this point. It has a single point in the middle. You hang it up and then just drape it over the top of your sleep kit. No issues. So I also have things like standby. The Most High Speed, all the productions, things like this, okay? Benadryl, itch stopping gel, diphenhydramine hydrochloride, topical analgesic, cooling relief for most outdoor itches, insect bites, poison ivy, oak, sumac, mosquito bites, sunburn, and minor cuts and scrapes. And then this is cortisone cream. Hydrocortisone anti-itch cream with aloe to keep your skin sensual and moist while you operate. Anyway, things like this are nice to have around for sheltering in place or while bugging out. I don't love insects. I don't love creepy crawlies. I mean, I'm not losing sleep over them, literally not losing sleep over them. But when you have a bad bite or an itch or something, it's nice to have something like that around. Food and water. How does this play into comfort? Well, coffee, man. We stock coffee like it's our job, both for shelter in place. And in my rucksack, there's 50-ish servings of coffee in there. And that's not necessarily because of the requirement for the caffeine to keep me moving, although that's nice. And it's not necessarily to avoid caffeine headaches or lack thereof, which is nice. It's for morale. It's so that I can start my day whenever, if that starts at 3 a.m. or 6 p.m. or whatever, I could start my day with my canteen cup and my coffee and have some semblance of normalcy, some comfort. And so I have lots of coffee in my bug out bag. I have rucksack, get home bag, whatever, and we have lots of coffee here. So coffee. Same thing with tea. Tea bags cost nothing. And get your mind out of the gutter, you repentant Yankee. Tea bags cost nothing. I mean, they're like, what, $5, $4 for 100 Lipton, right? And so I have plenty of those in my rucksack as well. And part of that is sometimes you just want something other than water to drink. Sometimes the water you're drinking, even though it's been filtered, still has a weird taste to it. So you can drop a tea bag in there and that'll help mask the taste. But also, again, just the morale of it. It's something that maintains some normalcy, okay? Snacks and comfort foods. So we stock some snacks. Snacks tend to be pantry items. And so pantry items have a shelf life of anywhere between 3 and 12 months. But they're nice to have. Not a need to have, but nice to. All this is nice to have. Oh, I hear a toddler coming. We're going to have to pause. Snacks. And then comfort foods are obvious. Man, stock comfort food so that you can have some comfort while you're eating it. Not just your beans and rice, but hey, if you like mac and cheese is your thing, we have lots of mac and cheese around here because we have kids. And it's normalcy. Again, this is Perpetuating normalcy is what we're looking to do here, so that we diverge as little from our accepted norms as possible. That makes this whole survival thing easier to stomach. Stand by, tactical toddler approaches. Okay, the tactical toddler has been settled, and we're back to comfort. All right. Sleep. How much, how, when, and who. So, if you're sheltering in place, you should just be able to continue to sleep on your bed. All right, that'd be good. What if your bed requires electricity? If you have one of those hospital-style beds, or like a Sleep Number bed that comes back up to here to electric. So you should have some kind of backup generation to maintain the comfort of your sleep. Things to think about. How much? 6 to 8 hours would be great, depending on who you are and what you do. How are you going to do that? How, when, who? You knew sooner or later we were going to talk about this, right? What a comfort it would be to have a community of like-minded individuals so that you can go to sleep and not worry about the zombies kicking your door in so that they can rape your dog and eat your kids. When we go on mission, we pull security all night. So we maintain positive control of our area of operations. In order to do that, we have to have the people to be awake so that the rest of the people can be asleep. And then we rotate those people on shifts, usually overnight. During the day, it's a 4-hour shift. During the night, it's a 2-hour shift. No less than 2 people together on a team. Swim buddies for the win. Okay. So how are you going to sleep? All right. Again, this is... we did a video on the lone wolf here on the whiteboard, and this is one of the issues: is how are you going to take a nap when there's nobody watching your 6? Okay. When? Well, that is determined by how many people you have, and you need to figure that out. What does your security shift rotation look like so that you can have the comfort of being able to sleep and actually turn your brain off because you're not worried about somebody coming to assault your position? And then who? Well, everybody needs sleep, but who sleeps when? See how all this works together. As far as bugging out is concerned, my sleep kit varies depending on the season, but I like a ground pad, a wool blanket, like I said, my mosquito net, and then I have a dry bag that has socks and undies in it. It's about this big, and that's my little pillow. And for expediency, most of the time, that's my sleep kit. That's what I take. Because I know that this is for a short period of time, and what I'm looking to do is get rested so that I can maintain this machine, push it to the edge of my operational envelope for up to 2 weeks to get from where I am back to where I need to be. It's not about sustaining, it's not like staying at a Holiday Inn Express while I'm bugging out or getting home. Now, a new addition to all of that has been a hammock, right? So that I can string that, if I'm in an environment that I can string that between 2 trees, I can get some pretty good sleep in that hammock. And it's about yay big, bundled up. Takes, it's very little weight. It's probably a pound and a quarter. I'm digging it. So that's something to consider. And then in the winter, and depending on where you are, late fall into early spring, depending on what part of the country you're in, you're going to need more insulation than a wool blanket. So bringing along a sleeping bag rated appropriately, and potentially a bivy sack as well, all of those things. And I was talking with somebody recently who turned a body bag into a bivy sack. And I was like, oh, that's brilliant. So anyway, but you want to be cognizant of what your sleep kit looks like for your bug out. And again, let's say we're sheltering in place, which we hope to be sheltering in place, but now we spin up the community and we have to put people on patrol as part of our security regimen. And so as people are patrolling so that we can sleep comfortably, those people who are patrolling are going to need a sleep kit reminiscent of a bug out bag or a get home kit, which is going to be, you know, your bedroll with your ground pad and sleeping bag and bivy sack and wool blanket. And, you know, and you could also take Mylar blankets, you know, emergency blankets. And I also carry you can carry a shelter half or 2 shelter halves, or a hiking tent. I carry a small tarp, and rolled up in that tarp I have 4 stakes and pre-cut pieces of paracord, 1 ridge line, and then 4 corners, and then I carry 200 foot of paracord with me as well. 1 100-foot hank, and then 6 6-foot hanks for 36 feet, and 4 16-foot hanks for 64 feet. So that's how I cut up that, you know, 1 100-foot piece, and then I keep the other 100-foot piece whole. And the reason I keep that other 100-foot piece whole is you never know when you're gonna need something longer than 16 foot. And occasionally, if I'm in bear country or big cat country, which this area has both, you can take your food, which I keep in a dry sack as well, tie a rock to the paracord, 550 cord, throw it up over a tree limb, let the weight of the rock pull it back down, tie your food onto that, and hang that in a tree away from your camp so that you're not getting assaulted by big furry animals like moi in the middle of the night to take your food from you. But point being that even in a shelter-in-place scenario, if we spin the tribe up, we are going to have individuals in the field that are going to need a field expedient sleep experience that's going to be predicated on a good sleep kit. Okay. Foot care, comfort. And this is not just comfort, but a necessity, because remember, all systems are man-portable systems, and mans are ported on their foots, okay? So socks, lots of them, preferably wool or a wool blend, and dry in a dry sack or a gallon Ziploc or whatever inside of your bag. Moleskin and boots, because these 2 things go hand in hand. If you have boots, but you've not broken them in yet, you're doing it wrong. Put your boots on and go ruck. Spend a couple of weeks, get those boots dirty, wet, sweaty, and have the boots form to your feet and your feet form to the boots. Do that now, because if the first time you wear your boots is when you're bugging out, you're gonna be miserable. Even then, if you have boots that are well broken in, but you're using them more than you normally would, you're gonna get hot spots turn into blisters. And so moleskin and also duct tape. You can just slap a piece of duct tape over that hot spot, and it reduces the friction coefficient between your foot, the sock, and the boot, which will help keep blisters from happening. If you get blisters, pop them. Okay, don't let them go. Pop them, drain them. You can take a pin or a sharp knife or whatever and just stick it in there. And oh, it's so disgusting, Bear. Cool, you want your foot to fall off? You want to be mobile, right? Okay. So boots and moleskin, nail trimmers as well. Just keep those things trimmed up. Don't be gross. You don't want to be looking like some extra in a horror film. None of that. Just trim your nails, okay? Look, you know, give them a nice trim. Okay. Recreation for comfort. Books. We've done a few videos on the Prepper Library. We'll probably do more, but having lots of books around. This is going to be a shelter-in-place type scenario, bugging in. I'm not bringing books with me on my bug out, okay? I'm not like, well, I'm going to take 46 of my favorite books. Negative. Not happening. I know people who have tablets preloaded, offline, full of books and reference material in their bug out bag. And I think that's an interesting idea, but in actuality, you need to know that reference material before you get into the woods or desert or marshland, or whatever your AO is, your area of operations is, you need to know that now rather than being, to refer back to it then. Music. Done videos on this as well, as far as instrumentation, morale, esprit de corps, entertainment, good stuff. Games and cards, absolutely. Again, just to pass the time, keep people engaged-ish. So, and then leisure and phones. Remember, EMP maybe, question mark. And do you have the electric to charge the phone? I know a lot of people who have their whole life is on that phone. Their pictures of their kids, which gets back to comfort, videos of their wedding, the time they went to the beach with their best friend, blah, 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 blah. So yeah, the EMP may not come. I hope it never comes. I feel like our lives are going to get a lot more Amish than they currently are, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to not have this stuff. Faith, comfort. My faith brings me comfort. My relationship with my Creator brings me a deep comfort. So, stand by. Okay, so, my faith brings me comfort. As such, I spend time in my Bible. Prayer. I talk to my Creator. Fellowship. Being with and around like-minded people, the loving rebuke of a brother, the consistent sharpening of iron between two brothers, all that brings me comfort. And even community work days are comforting, because as a faith group, I find comfort in community work days because we get to all be in action with each other. We do things together that are difficult, which increases esprit de corps. It builds context amongst ourselves. We learn more about working with each other. We push the boundaries of our physical capabilities. We get a lot of stuff done really quickly, and it's really cool to see dozens of people coming together for a day to make something happen for one person. And so even community work days bring me comfort. They bring me a lot of comfort. I enjoy it. And so comfort is highly subjective. And this can be applicable to your bug out, your bug in, your get home, your whatever. But here's just a few of the things that you should consider. Again, all of these videos in the Prepper Classroom are designed to be 30,000 foot elevation. They're up here, okay? If you want to dive deeper on any of this stuff, there are over 1,200 videos at this channel between YouTube and Patreon. We're pushing 800 on YouTube and we're pushing 500 on Patreon. So there's a lot of content in both places, and we go deep on all of this. So I would encourage you to go deeper with that. And these videos are designed to be shared and to be used as a reference so that you can refer back to, hey, I think I want to focus on comfort for the next 30 days in our preps. What should we do? Oh, hey, here's some ideas. Or sanitation or mobility or commo or security or whatever, okay? Prepositioned caches or whatever. So I hope that this stuff, this information is of benefit to you. I do this specifically to be of benefit to you as an individual and to the community at large so that we can all get better. That's the point of this, is to get better so that we can weather whatever storm is coming. So if you found this useful, I would love it if you'd please give it a thumbs up. If you want to be here, please subscribe. Many people have been unsubscribed from this channel by YouTube, and so if you want to be here, please subscribe and click the bell icon. I don't unsubscribe anybody. I don't have that ability. YouTube does. And we will not get into the politics of why YouTube doesn't like people who talk about liberty, independence, firearms, and read their Bible on camera weekly. But let's just say that my agenda and their agenda are not parallel. We diverge quite a bit. And so, and all that to say, there's this much censorship of our channel at Patreon, so you can always click the baby bear and come see us there. There's 24 exclusive pieces of content a month there. So thank y'all for being here. I really appreciate you guys, and I truly pray blessings on your day, and I hope this information helps at least one of y'all. Shalom.